Good morning, students. This class is for the students of Law Department, second semester. And today we will be dealing with intonation as I have told you in my previous lecture. So, what is intonation? Yes. So, from the term intonation, I guess you can suppose what can be the meaning of intonation. Like it is something related to the tone of your voice. Okay. So in phonetics, it is the melodic pattern of your utterance. What do I mean by utterance? Utterance is whatever I am speaking or whatever I am pronouncing is the utterance. So the melodic pattern of your utterance is called intonation. It is primarily a matter of variation in the pitch level of your voice. So it describes how the voice rises and falls in a speech. So during a normal speech, in case of an adult male, the vocal cords vibrate between 80 to 120 times a second and between 150 to 200 times a second in case of an adult female. So the rate at which the vocal cords vibrate is called the frequency of vibration. And this frequency of vibration determines the pitch of your voice. The more rapidly the vocal cords vibrate, the higher will be the pitch. So intonation is about how we say things rather than what we say. Or I can say that the method or the way how is getting more emphasized rather than the subject matter or what we are saying, the content. Okay. So speaking in other words, it is the music of our language. So intonation is divided into three main patterns. The first one is the falling intonation and the second one is the rising intonation, and mixing these two types of intonations, that is the falling intonation and the rising intonation, there is a third kind of intonation, that is the fall rise intonation. Understood? So from falling intonation you can understand that here while speaking for a sentence, when the tone is falling, it is called falling intonation. In case of rising intonation, the tone is rising. Okay. So at first the falling intonation. So intonation conveys differences of expressive meaning. For example, surprise, anger, tiredness, and in many languages, including English, intonation serves a grammatical function, distinguishing one sentence from other. Or I mean to say, the meaning of one sentence is different from the meaning of another sentence depending upon the intonation used. So the first pattern of intonation, the falling intonation, indicates definiteness and completeness. And the types of sentences in which this falling intonation is used can be ordinary statements, then WH questions, or it can be imperative statements. What do I mean by imperative statements? Like strong commands or exclamatory sentences. Okay. So falling intonation describes how the voice falls on the final stressed syllable of a phrase or a group of words. This intonation, this falling intonation, is the most common type of intonation in English. It is the most commonly used. and it is very categorical, and it sounds very confident and convincing rather than rising intonation. Compared to rising intonation, it is more confident, it sounds more confident and convincing. Well, this is the tone that is regarded as more or less neutral. If someone is asked a question and the reply is yes or no, it will be understood that the question is now answered and there is nothing more to be said. Thus, the falling tone gives an impression of finality. Okay, what do I mean by finality? That there is no more questions or doubts. Whatever I am saying is final. For example, if I say we live in Moscow, so I am very definite about whatever I am speaking. I have no doubt, I have no confusion. There is a sense of finality. Okay. Or if I say they left for London yesterday. In this case also it is the same. There is no confusion, no more doubt in whatever I am saying. So a speaker, when he or she is using the falling tone, it indicates that he or she is leaving something for the addressee, and whatever he is saying, it is sufficient for the addressee to answer, and the speaker is giving a chance to the addressee to comment on or agree or disagree with whatever the speaker is saying. Understood what a falling tone is? So here are few more examples of falling tone, like this is the end of the news. Okay, I'm absolutely certain. See, in these sentences, there is no chances of any confusion or doubt. You can sense the finality in the sentences. Okay, stop playing. I have finished working. Or stop talking. Understood? So the next pattern of intonation, which is the rising intonation. So rising intonation means the pitch of the voice rises over time. You can see it in the graph as well. Okay. It describes how your tone rises at the end of the sentence. Rising intonation is very common in yes or no questions, and it is rather a complicated phenomenon compared to the falling intonation. Rising intonation can express a number of emotions such as non-finality, incompleteness, questions, surprises, doubts, or hesitation, interest, or it can be request, suggestion, politeness, or maybe it expresses some readiness to continue the conversation, lack of confidence, and even insecurity. But we should consider the fact that rising intonation is different depending upon the situation. For example, a rise in tone expressing surprise may sound a little different from a rise expressing polite interest, or a rise as expressing repetition. Okay. For example, if I say, "Are you leaving tomorrow?" Can you sense that the tone is rising? Was he hurt? Understood? So here are few more examples of rising tone, like does he work yesterday? Does he known about it? Can you call me at 5? Okay, these are few more examples of rising tone which shows sense of incompleteness, confusion, or hesitation, or request, or interest. So understood whatever is related to rising tone. So the next tone, that is the fall rise tone, which is compared to both or combined with both falling intonation and rising intonation. What happens in this type of intonation? This type of intonation describes how the voice falls and then rises. Okay, so we use fall rise intonation at the end of the sentences when we want to say that we are not sure or we may have some more things to add. Okay, for example, if I say, I don't support any football team at this moment. Okay, so what does this sentence mean? I don't support any football team at this moment. It senses that it can be sensed from this sentence that in future I may change my mind, right? At this time I am not supporting any football team, but in future I may or I can support. Okay, so in this sentence there is no sense of security, there are doubts, right? Can you understand whatever I am saying? So if I say, is this your camera, or would you like another coffee? So in these sentences also you can see the sense of not being sure. Okay, so here are few examples of fall rise tone. Now these tones are divided into two types again. Like if a syllable is said on a level tone, high or low is said to be a static tone. Okay, the tone is not getting changed, it is remaining the same. If it is the condition, then the tone is called static tone. But if there is a change in pitch, it is either called kinetic tone or it is called dynamic tone. Then the stretches of speeches between any two pauses constitute a group. What is the first group? The first group is the breath group. So a breath group indicates that a primary object in breaking up an utterance in order to breathe. Okay, if we are breaking one sentence in order to breathe, then it is the breath group. Now the second is the sense group. What is a sense group? A sense group indicates the pauses cannot be made arbitrarily at any chosen places so that the sense of utterance is lost. It should be broken in such places so that the meaning of the sentence or the sense of the utterance remain unchanged. Understood? So by now you have understood what is the importance of intonation in English. Why is it important? Like it, because of intonation, we understand the differences in the meaning of the sentence. It conveys the meaning of a sentence in many ways. Okay, so today up to this, please contact me if you have any further query regarding intonation. Thank you.